What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and the following is a conversation I had with vegan personal trainer and fellow Portuguese Miguel the Vegan. If you're not following him on Instagram, you really should. There's tons of incredible health and fitness and vegan information, and with this conversation we went deep into all of these subjects, so I hope you enjoy it and get a lot of information out of it. This is actually the first time that we talk with each other. We are two Portuguese vegans, vegan bodybuilders and all of that, content creators, and we have never spoken like directly. We talked a lot on the DMs though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Even though I just moved to Portugal only 3 years ago.
Yeah, I thought that I actually would like to talk a little bit about that, because you have a very interesting past. I really like when people come from different backgrounds, but we still have something that unites us. So you grew up in Cyprus, is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, how was there? I know there's a kind of a complicated situation there in Cyprus with politics and all of that, but was it cool?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Portugal, but because my parents, one is Portuguese, another is Cypriot, that's why I grew up in Cyprus. So I went, to school, to the army in Cyprus. My main language is Greek, actually, not Portuguese. Okay. In terms of the politics, the situation in Cyprus, I mean, it's not, something that you see on a day-to-day basis. Everybody can cross the border because, for anybody who doesn't know, Nicosia, the capital, is the last divided capital of Europe, because you have Nicosia, you have the Greek Cypriot part, and you have the Turkish Cypriot part. You have the island is like 70% Greek Cypriot and 30% Turkish Cypriot. But you can cross the border. It's fine if you show your ID. Lots of people go to the other side for gambling usually. I think the most interesting part in Cyprus is the army, especially for men, because it was obligatory to do 2 years of the army there.
Okay.
Now it's reduced. They reduced it to 14 months. So that's good, I think, in my opinion. Yeah. It was interesting to grow up there. Of course, it's a very, I wouldn't say close-minded community, but it's a really small community.
Okay.
It's like less than 1 million, the population even. And in terms of veganism, I mean, I wasn't vegan when I was in Cyprus. I was vegan when I was studying and working in England, in UK.
Okay.
So now, I mean, whenever I went to Cyprus as a vegan, the situation is getting better, of course, but you have very limited, 100% vegan restaurants, very few.
How's the typical Cypriot diet? Is it like a Mediterranean diet?
Well, actually, it's pretty close to a Greek diet, so Mediterranean kind of diet. You have lots of legumes, lots of beans. They have the hummus, the pita bread, but you also have a lot of meat, of course, and fish. I think, even nowadays when you say Mediterranean diet, it's a lot of different views. Nobody knows exactly what it means. And it used to be, of course, with much less meat and much less fish. But now it's heavily based, with meat. A lot of people eat like lamb, chicken all the time. And of course, it's Americanized also, lots of American restaurants, steakhouses, KFCs, all these places. But the typical diet is pretty... If you follow strictly, just Cypriot food, you will eat, I would say, maybe 60% plant-based. Yeah.
Okay. Was that your diet growing up?
Well, growing up, I mean, you have these places where in Portugal, we don't have these places. They're like places that you only go for lunch. They open like 2-3 hours every day. Okay. And these places have like 90% of the food is purely like traditional food. And I used to love, for example, to eat. You have the dolma. If you heard of it, it's like a grapevine leaves with rice inside and mint and stuff like that. You have pumpkin flour leaves, again, with rice and stuff. You have the stuffed peppers with vegetables. You have lots of lentils, chickpeas, white beans, all these things, lots of salads. And some cheese, of course, the halloumi cheese, typical Cypriot cheese. So I would say, I mean, I grew up eating, not a heavily meat-based diet, but I would say yes, like a pretty balanced diet.
Yeah, but you used to have some type of meat or fish with every main meal, like dinner and lunch.
Well, if you talk about when I started like going into fitness, when I was like 14, 15 years old, then of course, yes, I started to eat tons of. My main protein sources was three. It was chicken breast, it was tuna in a can, and
Yeah.
Greek yogurt.
Hardcore.
Always, yeah.
So you got into fitness first. What got you into fitness? Were you always fascinated by it, or did you just want to move?
Well, I started playing football. You know, in Cyprus, everybody loves football. Everybody plays football, especially the boys. So I was like, you know, in the streets whole day playing football. And then we had like a gym opening up, and me with my best friend, when we were 14, we started going to that gym, you know, not a clue, doing whatever. And then my dad pushed me into like martial arts. So I started doing like Taekwondo. I did for a few years. Then I did some boxing. But with gym, I only took it seriously when I was like 21, when I was in UK studying, and I was learning, you know, bodybuilding.com.
After the army.
Sorry?
After the army. Yeah.
Yes, after the army. In the army, it was just push-ups, pull-ups, and running.
Yeah, pretty much it. So when did veganism come into play in all of that? First of all, you went to the UK when you were 21. You weren't vegan back then, right?
No.
Okay, so what did you go to the UK to study?
I was studying business and management, nothing to do with fitness or nutrition.
Okay, yeah. That's actually interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So we have kind of similar backgrounds there. So when did veganism and nutrition came into place there?
So I was always watching YouTube, a lot of YouTube, like guys like Brian Turner, I know you know him, and Simnet Nutrition, Vegan Gains,
so
his name.
You were watching them before going vegan?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, it takes a really open-minded person to do that. Congrats. That's really cool.
But I think some of them were already not vegan at the time also, like Brian Turner, for example, he wasn't vegan.
Yeah.
And John Venus, also he wasn't vegan. So, but yes, I mean, then I saw that they were, you know, doing this, and I always like to experiment. I tried, you know, also really low carb diet, and I hated it for a few weeks, few months, nothing serious. But yeah, I saw them, and then I got, you know, interested. I was reading more into it. I discovered Dr. Michael Greger. I watched, you know, the typical documentaries everybody watches. And yeah, then I just started reducing slowly in 2014, 15, sorry. I started reducing everything slowly. And then, yeah, since around November 2015, I went fully vegan.
Okay, so at first you went vegan because the bodybuilders that you were watching on YouTube went vegan, and you got kind of curious and just decided to try it for yourself and learn a little bit more about it.
Exactly, yeah.
It's interesting because I also started following John way before he was vegan. I actually started following John when he had 200 subscribers, and I started following Brian Turner also before he was vegan. And when they were vegan, I didn't really pay much attention to that. I just kept doing what I was doing. I would watch the videos, but not with the intention of ever trying anything like that. But maybe I just need some little click, some little push, and that came from Dr. Michael Greger talk. And because I didn't have all the stereotypes, the typical vegan stereotypes in my head, because I was already following the John, Brian, and all of that. Maybe that's also maybe that helped me transition to a vegan diet, because I pretty much went vegan overnight. So back then, did you know anyone who was vegan, or did you just dove in on your head alone?
No. I mean, and up to these days, the people who are vegan that I personally met and know are like, I can count them in one hand, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, before going vegan, I also didn't know anyone who was vegan or even vegetarian. But now, I mean, we're both living in Portugal, but I met for dozens of vegans in Portugal, but not where I live, because I live in a small town, and in here I think we are like 6 or 7 vegans, so that's not bad. Not bad. So how did when did you decide to get a personal trainer certification and nutrition certification?
So the personal training was something I always wanted, because I was always, I would say, much more interested in training versus nutrition. I always preferred, reading about bodybuilding and focusing more on training, and I was eating crap until I was like 22, 23, and I was eating pizzas. I still wasn't reading about nutrition. So a certificate I did along with my studies, and on the last year when I finished my studies, I also finished with my personal training certificate. It was like, in London, so I had to go back and forth on the weekends. So studying, it was really difficult, and I actually didn't pass from the first time, because I think I didn't took it very seriously, and it was also too many things to do at the same time, and I had to redo it, and then I got it. Since then I'm super happy that I got it. So in the beginning I was feeling, it's too much money, but now I'm super happy I did it. And with nutrition, it was quite recently, and it's actually an online certificate. I didn't go to university or anything like that. And I think, the reason is because I started working with people also, and before that I started working with people, and I thought, it's important for me to learn a bit more. But to be honest, I think, this specific certificate that I got didn't give me some, crazy knowledge that I didn't have before, because I always was doing my own research for many, many years. And I think, that's way more important than just a certificate.
Yeah, I feel like that's the general trend for most subjects. Like the certificate is just to show that you actually have some basic knowledge about your field. Yeah. But it's up to you to really get good at it, to really learn a lot about it. I really feel you there. So what were the main hardships, the main difficulties when transitioning to a vegan diet?
Well, for me, to sum it up in one word, was cheese.
Okay.
Everything else for me was pretty easy. I didn't feel a craving for meat or eggs. I was never a huge fan of eggs. And fish, I'm also not a huge fan of fish. I would say, cheese was the last thing I gave up. Of course, in the beginning of my journey, I still, did some accidental mistakes, let's say, where I ate something by accident, or even on purpose, 1 or 2 times. I think, it's pretty normal. And I think after that, for now, for many years, I don't really crave something. Maybe, that Greek yogurt, the consistency of that Greek yogurt, where I think I found anyway nowadays with soy yogurt from Alpro. Honestly, it was just giving up cheese, and then everything was super easy.
Yeah. How about family and friends and all of that?
Well, with that, my family are very supportive. They never were judging me or making me feel uncomfortable. Maybe just my grandma never understood what it means. She still asks if I want her cake which has eggs inside, but okay, it's not. She doesn't do it on purpose. But in terms of my friends, for example, or where I was working, it was I would say it sparked always when you're eating and they know you're vegan. It always comes to you. All the attention comes to you always, as I'm sure you know. And I found it a bit difficult in the beginning, but since moving to Portugal, because our social interactions are minimum now, because we live in a small village, and we rarely meet people and eat out and stuff like that. It's not something I have experience with now. Mm-hmm. But I think it wasn't like difficult. I think it's good for every vegan who is watching, every new vegan who is watching, to be prepared for this and to have some simple answers to common asked questions like where do you get your protein and why you don't eat eggs. Eggs are good for you, or to have some quick responses to be able to explain to people.
Yeah, I know that a lot of people struggle with cheese. Do you have any tips how people can live without cheese?
Well, first it's just a matter of quitting it, because cheese contains casein, which is very addictive, as you know. Same like snorting cocaine, or sugar, it can be really addictive. So it's good, I think, in the beginning to forget about finding healthy alternatives, just find something that's the same taste. Maybe that's, Violife products, which I found were all amazing. I even tried the halloumi cheese, which was pretty similar to what I was having for years in Cyprus. And just go that route. And then when you're okay with the taste and you're enjoying it, you can like start maybe cutting it down if you're overdoing it because it's not the healthiest thing. These vegan cheeses are usually not the healthiest. But honestly, nowadays, I mean, we're 2021 and you can find so many vegan cheeses that taste exactly the same. Like I ate this from a company called Muka. I bought it in Lisbon. They had like this cashew camembert, which is purely cashews, nothing else.
I've seen those. I haven't tried them, but I've seen them.
Yeah, they're crazy. The taste blew me away. I never ate vegan cheese like that. So I think nowadays, if you search for it, you will pay a bit more, of course, but it's worth it if you're looking for that specific taste.
Yeah, and at the same time, we get a lot of people saying, well, I would go vegan, but I could never ever give up this specific food, and most often than not, that food is cheese. And my answer to that for everyone watching is always just go vegan, accept that. Just maybe you won't call yourself a vegan, but that would be an amazing start if that was the only thing that you ate, the only animal product that you ate, with the frequency that you are currently eating it. Because a lot of times people are like, I could never go vegan for this one food, and then it's a food that they eat like once a month or once every 3 months. So maybe just keep doing that, and in all your other meals, just go vegan. That's actually a type of cognitive bias that people use to try and justify the fact that they can't go vegan. It's because that one thing, but everything else that they could get from their diets. So you were training before going vegan, training after going vegan. Did you feel any difference in performance, in muscle building?
Well, in terms of endurance, I definitely felt the difference, not just when training, but in general, on my day-to-day, getting up from the chair, going up, down the stairs, and my energy was through the roof in the beginning, of course. And I think it's also the fact that I was eating, really, really healthy, whole foods, plant-based. I wasn't eating lots of vegan cheeses and meats and stuff like that. And well, in terms of like, I would say, a lot of people say, I felt stronger. I didn't feel, particularly stronger. I just felt, this energy. And in terms of like the gym, I was still performing the same as before. I still felt great. I was feeling great before too, because I was also eating what I used to think, pretty healthy too. I mean, I wasn't eating lots of processed stuff. I think it's also the base of any kind of diet and any kind of, even the keto diet. Keto diet can be relatively healthy if you eat like 80-90% plant-based still. And I mean, I gained, I didn't do it on purpose, but I also gained like 5 kilos since going vegan, since 5 years ago, slowly. I mean, I built 5 kilos of mostly muscle mass because I
do you bulk and cut, or just steady bulk, like do a very slow bulk, like trying to put on muscle mass without gaining fat?
Well, actually, I mean, I only did like a bulk on purpose just once when I was, forcing myself to eat a certain amount of calories every day and training 6 times a week. But now, I mean, most of the times I just train for the love of training, and I eat as much as I need to maintain. Maybe I eat a bit more on some days on purpose. But I mean, right now I'm at 80 kilos and I'm not doing this bulking cutting. I'm just maintaining and building a bit over time. So yeah, that works for me personally.
Okay. You've coached a lot of people in the gym. What did you say are the main training mistakes that people make, that your clients make before coming to you?
I think the most common training mistakes are, first, not knowing where to start. I think a lot of people go to the gym and just do whatever. They don't rely on a specific program. I think a lot of people, they jump from one program to another. They don't give it enough time, because sometimes, everybody wants these quick, fast results, but they don't give it enough time. You need to stick to a program for at least, 3 months or 6 months to be able to see if it's working for you. And going back to the same, first thing is the form. I think a lot of people doing, horrible form with like squats and deadlifts. And then in the beginning, it might be okay because you're doing lighter weights. But then as you progress, if you keep, doing this bad form, you can like seriously injure yourself.
Do you program your workouts in advance? Do you have that plan in months or weeks?
For me or for the clients, you mean?
For you.
For me, well, it constantly changes, but I love strength training. And when I say strength training, just your basic movements with free weights. I always love doing it. Right now, for example, I work out at home. I don't have a gym at home, so I only work out with a couple of dumbbells. I have like 2 20-kilo dumbbells, which do the work so far. And in the gym, I have, I always love the main movements like rows, presses, squats, deadlifts, lunges. I don't do a lot of accessory work or bodybuilding, to really focus on bicep or tricep or forearm. But I just like to progress, with these movements. And of course, I love, hiking, surfing also is my passion, but weightlifting always will come first.
Yeah. I feel it there. I also don't do a lot of isolation work. Mostly I go for the compound exercises and just try to progress on them, try to get better every workout. So now on the nutrition side, what are the main mistakes you feel like people make with their diets? Not specifically for vegan diets, we can talk about that later, but in general, what are the main diet mistakes that you see people make?
Well, I think the first and most common problem and mistake is that somebody follows a diet. Somebody doesn't eat what they want. They try to follow a diet just because somebody told them it's good, and they follow like this diet, blindly. And it's most of the times diets that are extremely restrictive and not enough calories, and they won't feel energy, they won't feel a need to keep doing it. I think that's why a lot of people quit again very, very often, and they jump from one diet to another. Then it's just I think people who are into fitness also, they eat way too much protein, I think, in general. And apart from that, I think supplementation might be, so for some people, they think I don't need supplements because I'm eating this or that, even though there are some supplements you might need and that the majority of people needs. But I can go into more detail with plant-based diets. But
let's do it. What are the main mistakes you see vegans make?
The main mistakes is one, not supplementing, like I was saying before, at least with like B12 or omega-3, like a couple of really key nutrients. And this is just if you already have taken care of everything else, which I don't think a lot of vegans do also. They don't eat, enough to get enough calcium and iron and all some key nutrients. What else? What other mistake? It's again, with vegans, I think it's about maybe not getting enough protein. I think a lot of people think, nuts are high in protein, or quinoa is high in protein. But actually, if you eat like 1 cup of cooked quinoa, is like 5 grams or 6 grams is minimal. And I think it's important first to understand which foods are high in protein, which foods are high in fats, because I'm sure if you look at like a new vegan's diet, you will see that they are eating like maybe 10% protein, then 50% carb, and like 40% fats, maybe because they're eating all these nuts and seeds and avocados and all these things. Then I think, for vegans who want to eat more raw foods, or you have this raw vegan and keto vegan, I think a lot of people also make a mistake of excluding macronutrients, eating low carb or low fat, and at the end of the day, it's all about moderation, which is, of course, it's a cliche. Everybody's saying it, but it's actually the truth. You need to eat in moderation. You need to have a balanced meal, every meal. Hopefully,
in that moderation, most of the foods that you are eating are whole foods, plant-based, healthy foods. Because some people take the word moderation, and today I'm moderating with fries, tomorrow with a donut, next day with ice cream, and every day is something in moderation. But every day they're eating something there. It's not good for them. Do you believe that you have to be 100% whole foods, plant-based to be healthy and to achieve maximal performance, or you don't really have to be vegan and you can still be healthy and build muscle, recover from workouts and all of that by eating some junk food, but also some meat products, because this is also a hot topic?
Well, I think, first of all, going back to the mistakes, I think, somebody who eats a whole foods plant-based diet, for example, it's what my clients usually eat unless they request, I really need to have my I don't know, my cookie every day or my chocolate every day, because I think it's also important for people to eat what they want to eat, even though it might not be 100% healthy. I prefer if you are 80% healthy, but you can keep doing it for a year and for 10 years instead of eating, 100% healthy, and then you go crazy and I want to eat something on the weekend like I used to do, because I used to have this also an eating disorder. I'm going to say I had an eating disorder, and with like following a whole foods plant-based diet also, majority of my clients, when they're trying to lose weight, they always tell me, are you sure I'm losing weight? I'm eating too much food. I'm eating way too big quantities. And I'm always telling them, yes, you're going to lose weight because it's about the calories, not about how much food you're eating. And I think a lot of people also make this mistake when they are vegan. They don't eat enough calories because they're eating the same portions like they were eating like meat, potatoes, and peas. And then they replace the meat with beans and they think, it's enough. But going back to your question now, I think you can be healthy, of course, if you're not 100% vegan. I'm not going to be biased and say you're healthy only if you're vegan, because somebody can eat, for example, fish twice a week and eggs once a week or something, and then the rest of their diet is plant-based. And I think that person could easily, be healthy and strong and be fine. I think the purpose of going 100% vegan is more ethical than for health, because sure, you can be also 100%, you can be super healthy as a vegan, of course, also, but I think, you can be also pretty healthy also if you eat like fish twice a week. Or about meat, I don't think, I wouldn't say it's the same. Sorry, that's my cat. So for meat, I wouldn't say it's the same. Maybe, if you eat grass-fed organic beef, I don't think that's, really different than just eating normal beef.
Yeah.
Or if you eat chicken, if you look at the nutrients that chicken has, or lamb or pork, they don't have any they don't have strong, a good nutritional profile. Maybe they have a bit of, they have protein, but that's pretty much it.
And
they don't have,
That's one of the most important questions, that people need to start looking at food as a whole package. It's not just, it's protein. No, what is also there? Because if you're eating beans, yes, there's a lot of protein in beans and that's good, but there's also a lot of fiber, a lot of vitamins, a lot of phytonutrients, antioxidants, and all of this good stuff. And when you compare it to meat, even though meat can have more protein, and maybe a higher profile of specific amino acids, do you really want to spend your calories with meat instead of the beans that are so much healthier?
Yeah.
So are you a believer in counting calories, tracking your diet, or are you more on the side of intuitive eating, or it just depends from person to person?
Well, I think, if you have a specific goal in mind, if you're not happy with how you look like, or if you have a specific goal in mind, I think you need to learn about calories. Personally, I follow like an intuitive eating kind of, this is how I eat nowadays, because I've been tracking calories for almost 10 years now. And I know how many calories is in everything, as I'm sure you are the same. But with clients, I never, whenever they start, I always add the calories. I always, tell them to weigh your food also, so you can understand what 1 tablespoon of peanut butter looks like. It's like this, it's not like that, for example. So you can know, to be able to manage your calories. And I think it's important, in the beginning stages, like I said, to understand. And then, you'll be able to see if you're vegan, if you eat whole foods plant-based, how big or how small your portion should be. You know that you need to be adding, like 1-2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and not 5 or 6. And I think it's important in the beginning also, just to also, I know everybody talks about it, but I'm going to also say that to go into Chronometer and to like write down all your food for like a week, so you can see also regarding the micronutrients, not just protein and calories, to be able to understand, like for example, for me, even though I consider myself an expert in terms of calories and nutrients and everything in food, I still wasn't getting enough vitamin E, for example.
Yeah, the same thing happened to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because of all the peanut butter instead of like almond butter or hazelnuts or that kind of thing. So yeah, and I swapped to like almond butter now, so I can like take care of that. But it's important for people to know, because eat the rainbow, all these things, they're great. I mean, of course, they're great guidelines, but then, if you're not eating the rainbow correctly, you still might be deficient in some nutrients.
Yeah, yeah. What are your main, I'm guessing a lot of people come to you trying to lose weight on a vegan diet. What are your main weight loss tips for vegans?
So first of all, I think you need to be eating, and I was seeing you, I think you were talking about in the previous live with Paul, you were saying like to eat big portions, even bigger when you're losing weight. And I think that's what I always do also with my clients. Like some clients eat, for example, 1,600, 1,800 calories, but they eat like 60, 70 grams of fiber every day, which keeps you full, unless you're somebody who's really, really used to eating tons of fiber, which is not a lot of people. Then it makes it super difficult, to want to eat more after that. So I think, yes, is to eat like lots and lots of vegetables, and to include, of course, beans and grains, not to be afraid of carbs, to reduce, your caloric intake by not a crazy amount, not to do like 1,000 calories, like a calorie deficit, to do like maximum 500, I would say, because you want to be able to sustain this for a long period of time and not to, lose the weight as fast as possible. If you find it hard for you to even eat that amount of calories and still feeling, that you need more calories, then you eat something more, but move your body a bit more. I think, when you're trying to lose weight, if you're training 3 times a week, let's say, you still have, another 1 or 2 or 3 days where you can train even more. You can go for walks. You can do stuff like that, so you can burn all those extra calories and be able to afford to eat a bit more. Then, of course, drink lots and lots of water. And in terms of, you asked me what are the mistakes or tips when you're trying to lose weight?
Tips, but you can also tell me what are the mistakes that most people make trying to lose weight on a vegan diet.
Okay, so back to the tips. Apart from that, I think it's also important I'm not a fan of, cheat meals or cheat days, because it encourages some sort of eating disorder for some people. But if it works for some, then okay. I think with my clients, I never have them, okay, on this day, you can eat all the junk food you want. I mean, I prefer for them to eat a bit of something every day if they ask me, if they want to, and so be able to sustain this long term, and to trust in the process is another thing I keep telling to my clients. Trust in the process, be consistent, and be patient, because also another thing, a lot of people expect to lose weight in like 6-8 weeks, and that's why they want to do this big calorie deficit. They want to go into a diet where it's going to eat just salads all day, and you're going to feel like shit.
And then destroy your metabolism.
Yes, also, I mean, if you eat way too less calories, then it's gonna be difficult after to come back to your maintenance calories also.
So the main mistakes. Do you have any mistakes in mind that people make? Maybe that one. Maybe I think that's the most common one. You already talked about it. It's just having a huge caloric deficit, and maybe some people go really hard on the weekends or on cheat days and kind of destroy the rest of the week.
And another thing I think, which is nothing to do with nutrition, but people, they tend to overtrain also when they're trying to lose weight. They tend to do lots of cardio, like go on the elliptical for 45 minutes every day, or go running for half an hour, 40 minutes every day, do HIIT sessions, do strength training. Like they don't have a program. They're just all over the place doing
as much as possible.
Yeah, but then, I mean, you can still, make decent strength gains while losing weight in a smart way. If you have a small calorie deficit, you can still go from doing 100 kilos of squat for 5 reps, 6 reps, 7 reps, if you're eating enough nutrients, drinking enough water, and recovery. It's also connected to all this. Recovery and resting in between sessions, it's super crucial. Sleep, it's another thing which, this is not just about weight loss, but in general, a lot of people tend to undersleep now because everybody wants to work. But I think those are some common mistakes. And you can even, if you hate cardio, you can even just go for a light walk still, and you even don't need to do any cardio even if you want to lose weight. Of course, I recommend it because it's good for your health, for your heart, but you can still lose weight while not doing any cardio. Just a matter of knowing how many calories you're eating.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important to get this message across, is that the priority in a weight loss diet, in a weight loss phase, your priority when it comes to exercise has to be weighted exercise, resistance training, because that's how you're going to maintain and maybe, if you're lucky, even build some muscle mass while losing weight. Because what happens is, especially for people who have a lot of experience, is that they're going to do lots of cardio, and that will not only destroy their recovery from the workouts in the gym with the resistance training, but will also damper the rest of the workout, because you won't have any strength, because you're gonna be tired. And that's really important to get that across. For me, I'm currently finishing a cutting phase, and I didn't do any cardio. I should have done some cardio for health reasons, but to lose weight, I don't do any cardio, because my priority is the workout in the gym. I'm still trying to progress in weights. I'm still trying to get better each workout. And obviously, it's easy to do that in the first 8 weeks of a cut. After that, it starts to get a little bit more challenging. But still, I'm still getting there. My performance hasn't suffered that much. And another reason why it hasn't suffered that much is that I didn't cut carbs. Do you have anything to say about that? Do you think people should cut carbs, and can people lose weight without cutting carbs?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you just need to worry about your overall caloric intake, and you need to make sure you're getting enough protein, of course, not to cut down a lot on the protein, but it's all a matter of overall caloric intake. I think keeping the carbs high, I always keep the carbs high. I mean, if somebody comes to me and say, I want to do a keto diet, then I probably will say, okay, then we can't work together, because it's not my philosophy, and it won't. I don't support this. Yeah, I think when you're trying to bulk up, it's a matter of just eating more calories, and you can eat more fats, and you can eat more carbs even. But I think when you're cutting, definitely keeping carbs will keep you feeling full. You will have the energy that you need. Your glycogen stores will be full, with each workout, and you'll be able to have more energy. And definitely, yeah. I mean, you have to cut down a bit just to cut down the calories, but you still need to keep the carbs like 50-60% of your overall calories, I would say.
Yep, I never change my ratio. My ratio is always around 55 to 60% carbs, around 18% protein, and around 18% fat, something like that. I don't know if this adds up to 100, but something like that. And whether I'm cutting or bulking, this is my ratio. And a lot of people, when they just go from a bulking phase to a cutting phase, they just change everything about their diets, everything about their workouts, and usually it's not for the best, because I'm still eating pretty much the same foods I was eating before. It's just that I'm eating smaller quantities, and maybe I'm eating more veggies just to feel fuller.
Yeah. So, I think if you can eat tons of your portion can be huge, as long as you're aware of like your fats, because the fats is what adds tons of calories with a small portion. So instead of doing a whole avocado, just do half avocado. Instead of doing 2 tablespoons of oil, just do 1 tablespoon of oil, things that are going to make a difference, but they won't make any difference in terms of the portion.
Yeah. Do you have a specific protein target that you try to hit, and do you have that for yourself and for your clients?
So yeah, I mean, for me, because I'm somebody who is relatively very active, and I'm not trying to build muscle or lose weight now, I'm just trying to maintain more or less. So I would say around 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram is what I try to aim for. Sometimes I'll be a bit less, but I don't think that makes a huge difference. And for my clients, it's the same. It's around, I try to get it at between 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and maybe a bit higher if somebody's trying to lose weight, because to help with like feeling satiated throughout the day, but not crazy amounts ever, no.
Yeah. What are your favorite protein sources?
My favorite protein sources? Well, I would say chickpeas. I love chickpeas. I love all soy products, tofu, tempeh, soy milk, soy yogurt, for example. Lentils, I also like lentils. Then of course nuts, like nut butters, even though they're really high in fats, they're also a good source of protein if you eat like 2-3 tablespoons. Oats I have every day, and actually oats are super high in protein. Like just from my oats in the mornings, that's 15 grams of protein from 120 grams of oats, for example. And yeah, nutritional yeast, another one also. I mean, just 2-3 tablespoons is like already 10 grams of protein. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people would hear you say that and they would be like, what? Oats are protein? What the hell? And I think this is something that people need to learn, going back to the whole food package thing that we were talking before, is that your foods are not just one thing. If you choose the right carb sources, the right protein sources, the right fat sources, sorry, you're gonna end up at the end of the day with some extra 20, 30, 40 grams of protein without even realizing and thinking about it as protein. The same goes for veggies. If your veggies are cucumber, lettuce, and all of that, you're probably not gonna get a lot of protein there. But if you're eating a lot of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and all of that, at the end of the day, you're gonna have some extra 15 grams of protein, and you have no idea where it came from. I mean, going back to one of the parts from the Game Changer documentary that got really famous, the peanut butter sandwich with 15 or 20 grams of protein. It's insane. No one ever thinks that they're eating protein, and actually that's my breakfast most of the time. And I've gotten some comments in my videos saying, well, where's the protein? There's no eggs, there's no protein supplement, there's no glass of milk or something like that. And then I show people my chronometer login, and there's like 20, 25 grams of protein in my breakfast. It's like, where did it came from? There's no one source of very high protein, but still there's a lot of protein there. And for fats, I know fats can be a little bit tricky on a vegan diet. So what are your favorite fat sources?
When you say tricky, what do you mean?
I'm talking about the omega-6, omega-3 question.
Okay. Well, I think when it comes to fats, of course, I mean, I think a lot of people get surprised when I say, you know, olive oil is not so good, and coconut oil and avocado oil, because a lot of people think, you know, oils are healthy and good for you, but actually all of them are like high in omega-6. And I think, you know, for me personally, what I do to balance my omega-3 and omega-6 ratio, I eat like 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds every day without failing. And I think, you know, you have 4 foods that are high in omega-3s, which is chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, and walnuts. But I think, you know, hemp seeds and flax seeds maybe are the preferred ones for me because they have a stronger omega-3 profile, I believe. Walnuts I know are the lowest in omega-3s. But yeah, I think, you know, it's important to be able to balance that out. I would say a ratio of like 3-4 to 1, if I'm not mistaken, with the numbers, like 3 omega-6 to 1 omega-3. And it can be challenging, you know, if you're eating lots of peanut butter and tahini and seeds and avocados and chocolate and oils,
and
all
even
of those things.
Almonds and lots of seeds and nuts, other than the walnuts, the chia, hemp, and flaxseed. They're pretty much all just extremely high in omega-6s and very low in omega-3s. And most people, I would say, don't really have a good omega-6 to omega-3 ratio.
Yes, I agree, including myself on some days, because when you eat so many calories also, and you eat just one handful of hemp seeds, that's not going to be enough. You need to be able to look at, like you said, chronometer, and have a look and see to balance that out. And also an extremely common question I get also about omega-3 is, but I always say to supplement with omega-3 also, and people tell me, but I eat seeds, I eat walnuts every day, I eat flax seeds, why do I need to supplement? And yeah, because the supplementation has like the EPA and DHA part of omega-3, and the seeds and the nuts have the ALA part. And from what I know, from what I've been reading, our conversion rate from like ALA to EPA and DHA in our body is very low. So I think it's important to supplement with like an algae-based omega-3, and yeah, that will definitely be helpful. Of course, I think there is like this test also called the omega-3 index test, where you can check your conversion rate. I don't think it exists in Portugal though. I'm not sure.
I've never seen it, but I would love to take it.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. So I can stop spending money on omega-3 if my body does it for me.
So other than the flaxseed, is there anything else that you try to eat every single day?
So, well, going back to the protein, I think, there's too much worry about protein. I mean, I always try to get protein with each meal, but because I know what I need to eat, I don't worry about it too much. And I think, a lot of people are constantly talking and worried about protein. I think we need to shift our focus finally from protein to like fiber and micronutrients and other things that are way more important. But yeah, back to your question. So what I try to eat every day is soy. I need to have some sort of soy in my diet. I love it. Like soy milk is my go-to. Oats every day. I mean, I also have oats every day. Yeah. Bananas every day. I also discovered a few years back medjool dates. These specific ones, I also have them every day. Yeah. And in terms of vegetables, I mean, of course, I could go on all the things, but on specific foods, yeah, it's this one. It's berries, some kind of berries. I think they are. I mean, if you buy fresh in Portugal, they're not the cheapest fruit, of course. That's why you can buy the frozen, which are much cheaper, and they do the job the same. And yeah, some sort of nut butter also every day.
Okay, so you're not afraid of soy at all?
No, of course not. I have soy every single day for the last 5-6 years. I have soy every single day.
Yeah, me as well. So what are your thoughts on gluten?
On gluten. So again, like soy, it's something that, it's been heavily marketed as something that's bad for you because you have all these products, and for some reason, when you label something gluten-free or soy-free, it can sell more. It's like some people think it's healthy because they see gluten-free or soy-free. And I think gluten is just nothing to worry about, especially if it doesn't cause you, any issues, because like you have 1% of the entire population in the world who has this celiac disease and have a severe reaction and can have big issues. But I think for the 99% of us, I think it's completely fine. And of course, it depends on the source. So if you eat white bread, then it's not just the gluten you need to be worried about, it's refined carbs. But if you eat gluten like in its whole form, so if you eat whole wheat, whole grain, barley, rye, spelt, like these kind of foods, if you eat these kind of foods, I think it's completely normal, it's completely fine. A lot of them are high in protein, high in iron, and I think it's something that I also include in my day-to-day diet. Actually, I eat some sort of gluten also every day in the form of bread or whole wheat pasta, and I think there's nothing wrong with it unless you have some sort of reaction, of course.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on meat substitutes, like real meat substitutes, plant-based meats, and even in a couple of years, lab-grown meat?
Well, I think it's great. I'm not going to say that they're unhealthy, because I think a lot of people know that they're not the best for you. If you look at the package back, you have a list of 50 ingredients, so definitely probably not the best for you. But I think I fully support them, because in a world where we are so heavily on eating meat, I think these products which are on the rise, and you can see a lot of people shifting from meat to plant-based meat or sausages or ham or all these things. I think it's super great. And I think somebody who has this craving every once in a while, instead of going back to eating meat, once a week, for example, when they crave that burger, they can buy the Beyond Burger, the next level burger. They have million types of burgers now, and can satisfy that craving without, killing, supporting the killing of an animal. And even if you compare, I mean, the Beyond Burger with the beef burger, the Beyond Burger is even slightly healthier. It doesn't have saturated fat so much or cholesterol versus the beef burger.
So do you have these things regularly in your diet, or is it just like once a week, once a couple of weeks?
Yeah, I would say once every couple of weeks, not even once a week. Yeah.
Yeah, me as well. One of the last questions, we are coming to the end of the live stream, so if you guys have any questions, just leave them there so we can answer them. Do you believe that you will see a vegan world in your lifetime?
No, of course not.
Okay.
I'm gonna be.
Did you realize that you're the first person to say that on this series of lives? So please do explain.
Well, I think we need to be realistic, and change is happening. Of course, we're seeing all around. You see all these ads everywhere. You see all these products. You go to the supermarket, where before, I mean, there was no plant-based milk, and now you have tons of different plant-based milks or cheeses. Or I was struggling, to find tofu. Only knew one place that had it. Now it's everywhere. So I think change is definitely happening, but I'm not expecting a miracle to happen, because even though awareness is being spread at a huge pace, I think it's great, with people like you and me and other thousands of people on YouTube, on Instagram, spreading knowledge. Doctors, plant-based doctors now are on the rise. Also, I think lots of people, with scientific evidence and studies backing everything they say. but I think I think we are not so easily. Not everyone is easily convinced. Not everyone has access also to this information. Some people, in Africa or Latin America, or I don't know, in deep parts of Asia, they won't know all these things. And I think until the mainstream like organizations, McDonald's and KFC, all these exist, I don't think they will be becoming all 100% vegan. And of course, you have all these traditions, like people who are like my parents' generation and my grandparents' generation. I think are extremely hard to convince and to change after 50 years. So I think our generation is the first to start, this movement. I think it's amazing that we're part of this. I think it's an amazing change that's happening in the world. And I don't think everybody will go vegan until I die, but I'm sure going from what, like 5% of the population, it might go to like 20% of the population. And I think, it's just nice to see that this is spreading more and more.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more optimistic about that, just mainly not because of the ethical reasons of going vegan, not because of animal welfare or nothing like that, but just because of the sheer amount of food production and sustainability, the sustainability level that we have to reach. I feel like these plant-based substitutes and even lab-grown meat will do the trick in the Western world, and I do believe that we will see at least a Western vegan world. Maybe in Africa and all of that, and in more isolated places, it may take a while. But at the same time, we also have to make sure that when we help all of these countries develop, we are not leaving them with our own vices. And it's the same for fossil fuels, and it's the same for eating meat. So I don't know, maybe even there, maybe someday, obviously not everyone, but I believe in about 80%, 90%, in a Western world for sure. So we had a question here that we talked about before, but I guess she wasn't here. Do you think it's important to take food supplement to follow a vegan diet? What would you say?
So I think, yes, you should be taking definitely B12. Everybody should be supplemented with B12, vegan or not, in my opinion. And vitamin D3 if you're not getting enough sun, and omega-3 and algae-based omega-3. These all considering that everything else is on point, and we were saying before, like you can use a chronometer app to track your food and see if you're deficient in anything else. Yeah,
and talking about these specific things, did you get your blood test before and after going vegan? Do you remember the results?
So yeah, I did a blood test like a year or something ago, and I want to do one also like soon. And the only thing I had was a bit low ferritin, nothing to worry about, but a bit lower on the ferritin, but that was it.
Okay, how was your cholesterol?
I don't remember the numbers. It was a long time ago.
Okay. So I want to thank you for coming on, and especially I want to acknowledge you for everything that you're doing for the movement and the thousands of people that you are helping on a day-to-day basis. And just keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, and we gotta talk again, maybe in Portuguese next time. And
okay.
And yeah, thank you so much for coming on here on the page. Please, everybody, follow Miguel and check out his page, because he has great information about everything related to health, fitness. But I also see a lot of posts about common sense and even posture and a lot of that. And I really like that you're branching out to other subjects, because they are really, really important. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and hope to talk to you soon.
Oh, thank you so much, Rafael. It was nice seeing you for the first time. I'm sure we'll meet face to face at some point in the future. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, for anybody who's here, who's following me and doesn't know Rafael, definitely check him out. Lots of nice content, lots of videos, and always with the scientific evidence. And definitely check out also he released his book. I also been reading a bit your book. I know you have like 1,200 studies referenced in that book alone, about how to be fit and vegan. Lots and lots of tons of useful information.
Right,
so yeah,
it's in Portuguese, but we are working on a translation until the end of the year, so it will come out in English. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, everybody, remember to follow the science, and that's pretty much it.
Right, man. It was great seeing you. It was nice to chat, and yeah, stay in touch and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.